What's up, everyone? We are on day 3 of my self-designed, self-created, self-assigned authenticity challenge to lean into using my voice in more and more ways, getting outside of my comfort zone in more and more ways. And this morning, I am feeling a lot into change. I am going through some major death and rebirth cycles right now. That to me is what change is. And it has given me the opportunity, to just like reflect on this process, because I've done this cyclical thing now for starting since 2016, really, of allowing change, allowing this death and rebirth cycle within myself in various capacities. If you've been following me on YouTube, you know. And yeah, I feel like the more I do it, the more I understand the mechanisms of it, and therefore the more clearly I'm able to see the phases and the stages. Because change ain't comfortable, y'all. I took a major step this week in the direction of a significant future change I see for myself. And I mean, it's like calling more into my reality. I'm calling more into the possibility of what I believe is possible for my life. And I think when one thing I'm noticing about that is when we open ourselves up to dreaming bigger and like stepping in the direction of achieving those things, whatever they may be, the doubt and the fear comes up, like it's like the excitement and and the momentum of the change process makes it easier to step towards it. But then it's felt like as I've stepped towards it, the doubt and the fear is like tugged along in a way. And it makes sense to me. Any limiting beliefs I have about myself that would prohibit me from being able to make the change I'm dreaming about, like that's what's going to come up to the surface. Like that makes sense to me. But I mean, things like imposter syndrome, I don't experience imposter syndrome a ton. No, that's not true. I do, but it ebbs and flows. And I feel like I can recognize what it is so that I don't have to listen to it. But that was like rearing its head in an interesting way as this day when I was like not publicly, but I was vocally claiming this new change that I'm calling forth. As that day increased, that I was going to be vocally claiming it, the fears and the imposter syndrome were intensifying around it. And again, to me, that now feels like an invitation. It now feels like an invitation to lean in despite the fear and to recognize that it means that I'm growing and changing. So yeah, I mean, I think that's the point of what I want to share today. Just that, like, if you are, and maybe you've seen this in your own life already, if you've been in a place of like making a major life change, calling in a vision that a previous version of you might not have believed was possible for you, whether it's, related to education or a profession or just something you want to have in your life, somewhere you want to live, a way you want to live. I wonder if you've noticed that in your life too, that as you've like stepped forth to claim that and taken those initial steps in the direction of moving towards that vision, if doubt, fear, imposter syndrome has like been knocking on the door, like, are you sure you can have that? Are you sure you deserve that? Are you sure you're worthy of that? These other people can have that, but are you sure you can? Are you sure you're as good as they are? And that's just bullshit, right? Like that's just bullshit. That voice, and whether we choose to listen to it, that makes a difference in whether or not we're going to have success. I mean, many other things too. Let me not like make that seem like it's a simple, easy thing, but whether or not we choose to listen to the voices of doubt, because they're always going to be there regardless of whatever the changes that we're seeking, whether or not we choose to listen to those voices of doubt whether we can recognize them as like, oh, that's the fear that's naturally going to come up when I start stepping in the direction of greater visions for myself. And so in fact, it's a good thing that I'm experiencing that because it means that I'm pushing myself. Like, can we see it like that instead of, oh no, I have these doubts, and maybe that means that I should listen to the fear, and maybe that means that I shouldn't do this thing. So yeah, that's a part of what I'm reflecting on today and wanted to share with all of you. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you tomorrow for another round of Amy's thoughts. Goodbye.